My name is Rafael, you're watching Rock and Roll Garage, and in this video we're gonna remember and pay tribute to the incredible rock stars that we sadly lost in 2025. We selected 27 names, but first please subscribe to the channel, like the video, and leave your comment, okay? So let's start in chronological order. The first one is Peter Yarrow from Peter, Paul, and Mary, this incredible trio. He sadly passed away last January 7th at the age of 86. Now we move to Sam Moore, incredible soul singer, one of the greatest singers of all time, absolutely. He sadly passed away January 10th at the age of 89. Now Garth Hudson, the band's keyboardist, organist, pianist. He was one of the most incredible musicians of all time, absolutely underrated. He passed away January 21st at the age of 87, and he was the last surviving member of the band. Before him, more recently, it was the guitarist Robbie Robertson who passed away, who was also the other surviving member of the band. Now we move to an incredible hard rock and heavy metal guitarist, John Sykes. He was part of bands like Thin Lizzy, Tigers of Pantang, Blue Murder, and he was maybe best known for his work with Whitesnake and David Coverdale. He sadly passed away January 28th at the age of 65. Too young for it. Sadly, he passed away too young. Now we move to Marianne Faithfull, the British singer and actress. She had an extensive career, but for people who don't know a lot of her career, you probably might have heard her version of As Tears Go By, a song written by Mick Jagger and Keith Richards. And maybe for metal fans, they're gonna remember her for the Metallica song The Memory Remains, which she recorded some backing vocals to it, and also appeared the official video of the song. She passed away January 30 at the age of 78. Now, an incredible drummer, British drummer, Butler, who was part of the incredible trio The Jam, the influential British band, which also had the bassist Bruce Foxton and the guitarist and singer Paul Weller. He sadly passed away February 17 at the age of 69. Now, David Johansen from the New York Dolls, one of the most important and influential glam rock bands of all time. He was fighting cancer for a few years already, and he sadly passed away last February 28 at the age of 75. Now, another guitarist and another who was the last surviving member of a band, Joey Molland. He was the original Badfinger guitarist. He was the last surviving member of the classic lineup of the band, which it's a band that made incredible records. Some of its members recorded with George Harrison, for example. They were pretty close to the Beatles. Paul McCartney wrote a song for them. They had a lot of hits. But at the time, the band didn't achieve success, and some of its members had a tragic end in the following years, in the 70s, and sadly, it's a band with a beautiful musical history, but a tragic history, since two of its members took their own lives at the time because they were not. They were very sad because of how things were going for them in terms of success. Now we move to Brian James, who was the original The Damned guitarist. He passed away last March 6 at the age of 74. He was no longer playing with the band, but he was in and out of the band multiple times over the decades. He last reunited with them in 2022. Now we move to Les Binks, who was a very cherished Judas Priest drummer. He was with the band only from 1977 to 1979, but he's loved by the fans. He passed away March 15 at the age of 73, and thankfully he had the chance to play with the band when they were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame recently. So thankfully Les had the chance to be honored in a very good way. Now we move to Jesse Colin Young. He was the founding member, bassist, and singer of the Youngbloods. You probably remember them for the classic song Get Together. He passed away last March 16 at the age of 83. Now we go to another drummer, who is Clem Burke. He was the drummer for Blondie, and he was part of the band from 1975 until 2025, until his death last April at the age of 70. So he was in the band since he was 20, for 50 years, 5 decades. And Debbie Harry, the vocalist of the band, recently said that she doesn't know if they could continue without Clem. So the band is still doesn't know if they can't go on without Clem, who was a very important part of the group. Now I move to another incredible singer and guitarist, Reid Derringer. He first achieved fame as a member of the McCoys, and later on as a solo act for hits like Rock and Roll Hoochie Coo. And he worked extensively with the brothers Edgar Winter and Johnny Winter. He passed away last May 26 at the age of 77. Sly Stone, the frontman of Sly and the Family Stone, an incredible musician who influenced a lot of rock and roll artists, as well as soul and R&B and many other music genres. He passed away last June 9 at the age of 82. 2 days after Sly passed away, sadly, one of the biggest geniuses of the history of music, Mr. Brian Wilson, the mastermind behind the Beach Boys, the mastermind behind one of the greatest albums of all time, which was Pet Sounds, released in 1966, an album that influenced the Beatles to write Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, the album that was released 1 year later. And it was really a big commotion in the whole music world, not only in rock and roll music, because of his influence. He passed away June 11 at the age of 82. Then a couple of days later, June 23, Mick Rouse, one of the most underrated guitarists of all time maybe, who was part of Bad Company and Mott the Hoople. He passed away at the age of 81. And sadly, he didn't live enough to see Bad Company being inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame like they were by the end of this November 2025. Just a couple of months later, they were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And July 22, another major loss in the music world, just like of the magnitude, let's say, like Brian Wilson, it was Ozzy Osbourne, who brilliantly did on July 5th, his final show as a solo artist and his final show with Black Sabbath. After years with health struggles, he was strong enough to do it, the final show, and he sang a lot of songs from his solo career and a lot of songs with Tony Iommi, Geezer Butler, and Bill Ward. The first time that the three of them played with Bill Ward in over 2 decades. And it was also the last time, his last public appearance. And he sadly passed away a couple of weeks later, July 22, at the age of 76. One of the greatest musicians of all time, one of the most important heavy metal artists of all time. Now we move to Terry Reid, from best known for the band, being part of the band Peter J and the Jaywalkers. He passed away August 4 at the age of 75, and he was also known for turning down offers from Jimmy Page to be the lead vocalist of Led Zeppelin before Robert Plant was invited, and from Richie Blackmore to front Deep Purple. Now we move to Bobby Whitlock, who was a keyboardist, a guitarist, a singer. He was part of Delaney and Bonnie, a band that Eric Clapton was involved with by the late 60s, early 70s. And he later on formed Derek and the Dominos, the Eric Clapton band that recorded Layla and other assorted love songs, that classic album. He was part of their record, and he passed away last August 10 at the age of 77. I'll move to Mark Volman, a singer, a guitarist, a songwriter as well. He was part of the Turtles, one of the greatest American 60s bands, with many hits like Eleanor and many other incredible songs. He sadly passed away last September 5 at the age of 78. Up until his death, he was recently touring, and sadly he passed away last September. Now, another major loss in progressive rock, who was Rick Davies, one of the singers singers and keyboardists of Supertramp. He was also the one who owned the name Supertramp, one of the people who owned the name since in the early 80s. The other singer and keyboardist, Roger Hudson, decided to leave the band, and they made a deal that the band could keep the name if they didn't play the songs he wrote. And since then, since a couple of years later, Supertramp started to perform his songs live again, and the deal was broken, and they never reconciled, sadly. Rick Davies died last September 6 at the age of 81, and there's a detail that Roger Hudson didn't post anything on his social media, so sadly until the end they didn't make amends. They were still apart from each other. Now, another incredible musician who was part of one of the most important bands of all time, the Yardbirds, Chris Dreja. He was also both guitarist and bassist of the band in different eras of the group. He played with all the three incredible guitarists the band had, Eric Clapton, Jimmy Page, and Jeff Beck. He was part of all those lineups, and he passed away last September 25 at the age of 78, and he was also a respected photographer. Another major death in hard rock music, Ace Frehley, who tragically passed away after a fall in his studio, and he was at the hospital for a couple of weeks until he passed away at the age of 74. He passed away October 16. And he was one of the most underrated guitarists of all time, for sure. An integral, important part of Kiss. He was one of the musicians who formed Kiss, who founded Kiss back in 1973 in New York City. He formed the band alongside Gene Simmons, Paul Stanley, and Peter Criss. And we move now to the final ones, and this one at really an early age, the youngest one from the list, Sam Rivers, who was Limp Bizkit's bassist. He passed away October 18 at the age of 48. Also, October 22, David Ball, who was one half of the synth-pop duo Soft Cell, alongside the vocalist Mark Almond. He was the other half of the pop duo. He passed away at the age of 66, October 22. And the final one on the list, Donna Jean Gottschalk's Mackay. She was Grateful Dead's backing singer for a lot of years. She also played with Jerry Garcia's band. She passed away last November 2 at the age of 78. So these are 27 incredible rock stars that we sadly lost in 2025. So let's pay tribute to them by listening to their songs, their music, keeping their legacy alive. And please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and leave your comment. Tell me which one of these deaths shocked you the most. For me, it was certainly Brian Wilson, Ozzy Osbourne especially, because just a few weeks before he had played with in the festival back at the beginning, And obviously it's Frehley, who was someone nobody was expecting as well. He was healthy and etc. It was really a tragedy. And please leave your comment. And I hope, you know, God forbid that any other rock stars that we love pass away in 2025, since this video was recorded in the half of November. If this happens, we're gonna add the names and information in the description, but hopefully that's not gonna happen, and we're gonna be able to enjoy our favorite artists for a long time still. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you later.